Have you ever wondered why some items suddenly get extremely popular? Or why a silly YouTube video suddenly goes viral? If yes, then I have a book that may shed some light on that fascinating phenomenon. The Tipping Point. I must say that I found the book very interesting, and it also inspired me to take action. So here's the story. I live in Oslo, Norway, and I really love my neighborhood. It's lovely. I mean, look at that. Trees, tiny little houses. I actually live in a house like this. It's small, but hey, it's home. Now, what happened recently is recycling bins have been installed next to where I live, and you'd think that's a good thing. Unfortunately, people are throwing an insane amount of litter all around them. Check it out. And if you don't think it's too bad, have a look at this. This horrible habit actually spreads, and the book nicely explains why. What I'm going to do today is I'll briefly review the book, invite you to read it, and then one day, hopefully, we'll be able to discuss it together. Let's start with a short summary. The book has 8 chapters. The first 4 describe the theory, and the next 4 give you some case studies. The first chapter is entitled The Law of the Few, and it explains how there are some special people who manage to start an epidemic. What qualities do they have? The second chapter is entitled The Stickiness Factor, and it's all about how do we package the message or the product so that it sticks, so that people remember it. And then chapters 3 and 4 are all about the power of context. So what else happens around the concept, the message, or the product that makes it go viral? Let's revisit my neighborhood. One of the chapters on the power of context mentions the broken windows theory. And according to that theory, crime can stem from disorder. Which means that if people pass a broken window, what they think is, well, if that's okay, then if I do something even worse, nobody will notice either. Same can be true for litter. That's why I decided to clean up the area around the recycling bins. The logic behind it is much more difficult to trash a clean area than to add just another piece of litter to an area that already is trashed. Good news is, I took another picture 2 weeks after the cleanup. It still looks clean, so far so good. Now I know that after a tough day at work, it is sometimes a bit challenging to find the motivation to actually grab a book. However, there are some books that are easier to read than others. So in my videos, I am grading the books that I read on a scale from 1 to 10, where 1 is a book that is so easy that you can basically read it on a bus. It requires 0 to no concentration. And a 10 would be a book that you want to be well rested for because it's quite complicated. So, where does The Tipping Point fit on my scale? I'd give it a 5. Even though the author explains his theory in a structured way, and also the theory he presents is relatively easy, he backs it up with a lot of data. Now, I do love data. However, I prefer a nice pie chart to 2 paragraphs full of numbers. Full disclosure, I found myself rereading some of the paragraphs because I was so overwhelmed with data. But maybe that's just me. Don't let it stop you from reading the book.